Hey guys! Welcome back to our second episode of Talk Spooky to Me Tuesdays, where every Tuesday from now until the end of October, we're going to be talking about spooky cases, hauntings, paranormal activity, and true crime, and more. So keep a lookout later this week also for our spooky event of the week, because we'll be putting a spooky event either Friday or Saturday. And then we also already have our first episode. We'll link that below for our Talk Spooky Tuesdays. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about the Slenderman case, so keep watching.
So if you don't know who Slenderman is, we'll give you a little background. He is a fictional character created by Eric Knudsen on the Something Awful online forums from a 2009 paranormal Photoshop contest. This character blew up, and a lot of people created fan fiction and artistic depictions of what this character would look like. He also appeared on video games, online stories, and even a movie in 2018 entitled Slenderman.
Have you seen it? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. It kind of looked, it didn't look that scary to me, but the character itself is really creepy. Super creepy.
We'll insert some pictures here for those who are watching, but if you're listening, Slenderman is a tall, thin character with a white face that has no features. He usually wears a black suit and sometimes is seen with tentacles growing out of his back. He's often depicted hiding in a forest and stalking children. He is also said to cause amnesia, coughing, and paranoid behavior in people. So it's a completely fictional character.
Right.
But very creepy.
This isn't even like an urban legend type of thing. It was literally created online.
Somebody made up. Yeah.
So now that you know a little bit about Slenderman and his background, let's get into the case. So Peyton Lutinier, Anaiza Wire, and Morgan Geyser, they were all 12 years old around the time and were all friends. They lived in what was that word again?
Waukesha.
They lived in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and attended Waukesha Middle School. None of the girls were really popular, and they mostly kept to themselves.
Anaiza and Morgan discovered Slenderman on the Creepypasta wiki and became obsessed with the story and the character. And mind you, they were 12 years old, so like, it's not like adults, you know, when you see something, it's like...
It's an automatic, oh, this is for fun.
Yeah.
You know, kids have imaginations.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had like an imaginary friend growing up.
I did.
You did? Okay. So see, things like it's normal for kids to be creative and to think, oh, like, or even to want to think that something's real or pretend that something's real, but it's not the case.
Or even like become obsessed with like a character.
Yeah.
Like think about it, when you're little, you're like obsessed with a certain like Powerpuff Girl.
You want to be a Powerpuff Girl. Yeah, exactly.
So think of that, and then like that's what these girls were thinking, so they kind of became like obsessed with this Slenderman character. They believed he was real and wanted to demonstrate their loyalty to him so that they can become his proxies, live in his mansion, prove his existence, and prevent him from harming their families. So they believed the only way to do this was to kill a child. Morgan was certain that Slenderman ordered her to kill her best friend Peyton in order to save her family. So like, how twisted is that? And just like the fact that maybe she actually believed this, and I think we mentioned this later, but she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So, and it was in her family. It was
her father also suffered from schizophrenia. So it's really sad, but at the same time, you think that the parents, I think the parents knew to some extent that they were very much interested with Slenderman, but at the same time, if you knew, and I don't want to blame the parents, but if you knew that there was history in that in your family, you think you'd be a little more cautious with your kids. Like, you want to check in on them, see what they're looking at. I know, like with kids, you should definitely be checking what they're looking at on the internet, what they're watching, because they're so influenced. It's such a like critical age. So
it's very true.
It's just really sad. So the attack was initially planned for May 30th of 2014. The girls' plan was to tape Peyton's mouth shut, stab her in the neck, and flee. They ended up not carrying out with that attack that day because they were too tired. Morgan was reported to have said, "Let her have another morning." Like, she was wanting to let her live another day, basically. Another plan was to attack her in a local park bathroom because it had drains for Peyton's blood. Like, That
insane.
is so dark
Yeah.
for 12-year-olds.
Really dark.
So dark.
And just to like think about like, I don't know, the fact that she said let her have another day, like she was really planning this, like to go forward with this.
And we'll insert some footage of the girls
Yes.
talking. They don't act or seem like your normal 12-year-old.
No.
They're very composed.
Especially for what happened.
Yeah,
like,
it's very eerie and bizarre.
Yeah.
I was scared because I would never see my family again, and B, I was kind of hopeful to prove that I wasn't crazy. Trying to get up, she said that she couldn't see, she couldn't walk, and that she couldn't breathe.
Did you tell her you were going to go get help?
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to actually get her help?
No. We stabbed her.
Who was Sweden? Did you stab her or Anissa? Who had the knife?
Most of the time I did. I wanted to hurt people before, but they're not nice to me, so they deserve it.
And I feel like it's so different in any case when the murder is premeditated, like you were thinking about this for a long time and you decided to go through with this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so, it's different. It's just like, wow, you had time to think about this and like plan this.
Yeah.
So
and for a 12-year-old, no less. It's insane.
It's really crazy. But the actual attack took place in David's Park on May 31st, 2014. Morgan was allowed to have 2 friends over each year per birthday, so she had a sleepover with Anissa and Peyton on the night of May 30th. And when they woke up on May 31st, the girls lured Peyton into the woods. And when I say lured, like they were friends, so I'm sure Peyton didn't really suspect.
Right, they were just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go play in the park.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, hide and go seek or whatever.
Yeah, so it wasn't really like lured, like they kind of just went to go play.
Yeah.
In the woods, while they were playing hide and seek, the girls pinned Peyton down and stabbed her 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso with a 5-inch long blade. And then they just left her there for dead.
That's just...
It's really sad to think about, and just like the trauma this girl went through.
So 2 of the wounds actually were to major organs. 1 missed a major artery in her heart by 1 millimeter.
Crazy.
Wow. And another one through her diaphragm, cutting into her liver and stomach. And Aisa told her to lay down because the blood would come out slower. The girls told her they would try to get her help, but they ended up just leaving. Peyton dragged herself to a nearby road where she was found by a cyclist. That's a strong little girl.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a brave little girl.
Times, like, oh my gosh. So Anissa and Morgan were found at a furniture store near Interstate 94. The knife they used in the stabbing was found in their bag, and luckily Peyton did survive the attack. She left the hospital 7 days later and returned to school in September 2014. So she's very fortunate to have survived that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but still, just the trauma that stays with her is so sad.
That's something she'll probably be dealing with the rest of her life.
100%. Okay, so like we said, the girls were arrested, and we're gonna insert some clips here, but like, when you watch them, these girls show no remorse.
No remorse.
It's insane.
What were you trying to do with her when you stabbed her?
Kill her.
We told her we were gonna get help, but we really weren't. We were gonna run and let her pass away. So we ran.
And then like, I don't know if they genuinely believed they were doing it to save their families or like...
I think they were though.
Yeah.
I really do.
Like,
as crazy as that sounds, I really do.
Yeah. You'll see it in the videos. They're just like, you know, we did this for Slenderman, or like, it's creepy to watch someone.
And he has tendrils that are very sharp.
Do you see him in your dreams, or where do you see him at?
Oh, I've seen him in my dreams.
Evidence presented in court shows what was found in Morgan Geyser's bedroom. Dozens of disturbing drawings and numerous disfigured Barbie dolls, many with the Slenderman symbol on them.
I told I wanted to be locked up so that I couldn't hurt her, but that time has passed and now I'm in here because we were careless. I knew this would happen. I knew we'd get in trouble.
Again, just so young too.
So young, 12 years old. Like,
creeps
can you
me out.
imagine? It's so scary. So yeah, you'll see that.
So once they were arrested, the judge on the girls' case decided that they would be tried as adults. Authorities said Morgan felt no empathy, while Anaisa was described as feeling guilty, but felt that the attack needed to happen to appease Slenderman. In 2017, Anaisa pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide, but the jury found her not guilty by mental illness or defect. Morgan accepted the plea offer, under which she wouldn't go to trial and instead would be evaluated by a psychiatrist to determine how long she would be placed in a mental hospital. She later pleaded guilty but was also found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which her father also suffers from, like we mentioned before. Morgan continues to struggle today. She even claims to see people in her jail cell.
It's so sad because like these are things that if you catch it, or like if their parents, and also not to blame her parents again, but like, and you know, people can't afford this kind of care too.
Right.
But it's something that, you know, if you notice, you just
have to be very attentive, because again, with the history of schizophrenia in your family, I feel like that would be a big thing to want to pay attention to, continue to check up on your kid, know what they're reading, what they're talking about, who their friends are. All of that's important.
Yeah, because things like this could trigger
absolutely,
you know, what
and
she already
it
has.
did. So it's just really sad.
It is really sad. So Anaisa was sentenced to 25 years to life in a mental health facility, involving at least 3 years in locked confinement and involuntary treatment in a state psychiatric institution, followed by communal supervision until the age of 37. And then Morgan was sentenced to 40 years to life in a mental health facility, involving at least 3 years in locked confinement, the same thing, involuntary treatment in a state psychiatric institute, until complete resolution of symptoms, or until the age of 53.
Wow.
So this is followed by continued communal supervision, periodic reevaluations, and further treatment if needed. So yeah, they were sentenced to a pretty heavy, I mean, they didn't go to jail, but a mental health facility, which I think is what they needed from the beginning.
Absolutely. So Peyton actually spoke publicly for the first time after more than 5 years after she was stabbed on a 2020 special. She says she sleeps with a pair of broken scissors underneath her pillow just in case. I can't imagine.
So sad.
Referring to what she would have said to Morgan, Peyton said, "I would just say because of what she did, I have the life I have now. I really, really like it, and I have a plan. I didn't have a plan when I was 12, and now I do because of everything that I went through. I wouldn't think that someone who went through what I did would ever say that, but that's truly how I feel. Without the whole situation, I wouldn't be who I am." Again, this girl is so brave.
Seriously.
Go back 5 years ago to 12-year-old Peyton. How would you describe her?
Hopeful, positive, an animal lover. I saw the good in people. I made friends with her when I saw that she didn't have any friends at all. Because
Morgan.
I didn't want her to be alone.
Never had any idea that there was any sort of...
No.
Wow, just to like go through that, and it kind of forces you to like grow up a little bit. 'Cause it's just like, I don't know, you don't think of your best friends trying to murder you. Like,
No. And it's really sad because further reading, she also claims that like now she's very hesitant to be friends with anybody else.
So
like she's
sad.
very cautious, which you can't blame her.
No, of course not.
So
Peyton also talks about how she became friends with Morgan. She described Morgan as funny and a little lonely. She did consider her her best friend. That breaks my heart.
I know.
Peyton said she had a lot of jokes to tell, and she was great at drawing, and her imagination always kept things fun, but then everything went downhill.
Yeah, everything went downhill as soon as they started becoming obsessed with Slenderman. I guess she started changing. That's really scary.
That's so scary.
Peyton also gave some advice to other kids. She said, "Get out before something bad happens to you. Even if you're guilted into it, even if you've been friends with them for years, if you feel something is bad, you need to get out while you still can."
My goodness.
Oh my gosh, my heart.
Today, Peyton is 18 years old and she's supposed to be starting college this month. Peyton had mentioned she was interested in pursuing a career in the medical field, which she believes is a goal inspired by what happened to her.
So just an update for where the case is now. Morgan's attorney filed for an appeal. In the petition filed, attorney Matthew Pinnix said a review by the Supreme Court is warranted because he claims that the court shouldn't have tried her in adult court when she was only 12 years old. He says it should have been in a juvenile court. He also challenges that Morgan's statement to the police hours after being arrested was unconstitutionally obtained.
They didn't give much information about why, but I'm sure if, when the Supreme Court reviews it, they'll kind of give an answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really sure why they thought it was unconstitutional. Maybe because she was a kid and she didn't have an adult present.
Right, but I know in Wisconsin, her mom actually mentioned it in an interview. Her mom mentions that they never brought in a parent because it's legal in Wisconsin to question a minor without a parent present. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's still unclear if they will accept the case. So who knows if she'll get an appeal. But if you're interested in learning more, there's a really good documentary on HBO called Beware the Slender Man that you should definitely check out. But yeah, what do you think about this case? Like, do you think they had a fair trial, or like?
I do think it's fair. They absolutely need to be in like a mental institution for sure. It's just crazy because I feel like we're very much into like spooky things.
Yeah.
I mean, look at our channel. It's all spooky things. We have this series going on, and I've pretty much for my whole life, as far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in like scary movies, horror movies. I loved Courage the Cowardly Dog growing up, like things like that, even when I was little. And my parents never really checked in on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they never were like, no, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. I feel like it's very hard to completely fault the parents, but at the same time, again, given the history of the family, I feel like they should have checked in more.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
And it's just like, also like, these girls were in a different mental state. Like when I was little, I knew the difference between, this is fictional, scary stuff.
Right.
And like, obviously I didn't want to do any of that. I didn't obsess over it. It was just something that I liked to see. I was interested in. Who knows what they were thinking when they see these things. I do think it was a fair trial. I do think they needed to be in a mental facility. I wish it would have been sooner, but like, who knows the situation, but. Yeah.
I'm just happy that Peyton survived, obviously.
Same.
And that she's turned it around for her good.
It's awesome.
That girl is strong.
She's strong. Alright guys, well that's it for now. Make sure to tune in next week for our next Talk Spooky to Me Tuesdays from now until the end of October.
And check out our second video of spooky things that we're doing around the town. You don't want to miss it.
Alright, bye!
Bye guys!